one's the best crypto asset? Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Which one's the best crypto asset? Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Which one's the best? 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 What's the second best?
Welcome into Discover Crypto, the blockchain basement. It is a beautiful Monday morning. The market pumping to new highs. Bitcoin, new all-time high. Let me hear it in the chat. Let's get it, man. The bull market is indefinitely still here. So very, very excited about this. It feels good. It's been a hard-fought battle. Boy, howdy, we're at new all-time highs for Bitcoin, new all-time highs for gold, new all-time lows in the trust of the US dollar, and macroeconomic signals telling me that not just Bitcoin, gold is setting up for a absolutely disgusting run. We're going to take a look at this, compare it to the macroeconomic data going around right now. Animal spirits are here. Animal spirits are real. Stagflation is real. I've been right for 2 years. Now we have validation of that. But what does it mean? It's great to be right. But what the hell does it even mean? What does it mean for our bags? We're going to be talking about that on today's show today. We have so much to cover, you guys. Literal financial chaos beginning. A massive Chainlink and Binance partnership being announced that I'm excited to look into, as well as a altcoin season escape plan. How to get out of alt season, when to get out of alt season. We're going to be talking about that here on the show today. Super excited about it. Quick shout out to the chat, Mr. Helper, Dave Flowers, Ricky Romero, CW Post Husband Father, Mark Lane, JC Clayton Trimble over there, Kyle Watts, JZ again, Papa Guth, Crypto Surge, all kinds of folks showing out for the show today. Thank you very much for showing up and giving me your most valuable asset on this planet, which is your time, right? Your time is the most valuable asset you got, and I really appreciate just stopping and taking some time to join me on the show today. So let's get into it. Without further ado, let's get into what the markets are looking like right now. So make sure you guys are following me. First and foremost, make sure you're following me. I am at Druth Crypto on Twitter here, at Druth Crypto. And then we are on Discover Crypto, the YouTube channel, as well as Blockchain Basement. Now, this morning, I had some personal stuff I had to deal with. It really sucked. I was not able to do the morning show for the Blockchain Basement just for this morning. But moving forward, here is the game plan. Make sure that you are paying attention here, because we are planning to go live at 10:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. So 10 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. Basement live show, Eastern Standard Time. We're going to roll it right into the main Discover Crypto morning show with DZ and just give you content all day long. There's a lot of stuff that I've left on the table I haven't discussed because we've been very crypto-centric here on Discover Crypto, but culturally, macroeconomically, there is much to discuss, and that's what we're going to be doing on the Blockchain Basement. Now, let's take a look at this beautiful Bitcoin chart. Can I get an amen? We are moving up, baby. Moving on up. We are about to break all-time highs. Literally, as I'm talking, we are breaking all-time highs. Absolutely ridiculous. Huge shout out. I saw Plume was pumping as well. Very, very big pump on Plume. People asked me to fade it last week and refused to do so. Last week, refused to dog on Plume, and it is up by 20 or 30% today. But this is absolutely incredible. Bitcoin is now fighting its way into the all-time highs. I love it. I can't, and something about the mentality of this, the old bag holders, the traditional type of crypto whales pumped this price up to new all-time highs this weekend, and then the market's open for Wall Street, and they are not going to be being outshined here. Wall Street coming out with a very, very strong showing. And now this is on the 15-minute time frame. I'm going to be keeping an eye on this. I'm looking for a nice entry point into a long right now, but not in the zone to do so. But the reason why I'm looking for longs is because this is a fucking bull market, baby. We are cooking up. And I really feel strongly that we're about to move. As I said last week, I laid it out very, very clearly last week on what I thought was going to happen. Now, the W pattern has arrived, right? We were talking about the W pattern being formed by the time we went into Monday this week. We are absolutely there. The general thought process was that we had the juice to hit $128,000 to $130,000 per Bitcoin, come back down, do a plate vibe check on this zone right here at about 119,000 ish, right? So I'm looking for a move up to like the 130 spot, come back down to the center point of this W pattern before cooking on up from there. Generally, just something like this, right? And this is kind of the plan from last week, just reiterated for everyone that didn't watch the show. God, we've been calling the general ebbs and flows really nicely, so I feel good confluence there. Something along the lines of this, coming back down and retesting the structural center point of the W pattern before continued upside. I think it structurally makes sense to me for Bitcoin to do so. But there's other people that actually feel the same way, that we're about to gigascend. One of the best crypto traders on the planet, undeniably one of the best crypto traders on the planet, has come out with a shocking prediction. This crypto trader is none other than Crypto Face, Real Crypto Face 1. He's behind the development of Market Cipher as well. Market Cipher is this set of indicators which I love and adore, and I use constantly on my Bitcoin entry points, right? So huge shout out to Crypto Face for that. But he's looking actually at us breaking into an uptrend, landing us at $150,000 by December of this year. This only leaves a little bit less than 2 months for Bitcoin to accomplish this massive, massive milestone, $150,000. He's calling it the Bermuda trifecta, proving that 150K by December is probable. And I want to get a vibe from you guys. Do you think that the market has the juice to get there? I know a lot of people are probably feeling bullish right now, but let's check in on a key metric to see just how bullish the average trader is. Right now, the fear and greed index is at a 59, slightly bullish, right? Slightly in the bullish territory for fear and greed, which is actually a delicious metric for us bulls here, because people are sitting here looking at the Bitcoin chart in disbelief. They're looking at the weekly, they're looking at the large time frame of Bitcoin. They're like, there's no effing way this is happening. Well, Buttercup, buck up, because I got some data here to dive into that really paints a picture of how obtainable these numbers really, really are when we look at them. So let's get into those metrics. And before I get into the actual nuts and bolts of the financial situation at hand, we got to talk about some of the context in how we got here, right? So let's talk about this first. AMD stock, okay? Chip stock, Intel stock, national interest in private companies, Intel producing chips, the new oil of our generation, okay? This is the US government getting its talons in the most easily accessible giants within the data and chip infrastructure, getting a nationalized interest in those products. Now AMD stock extends 35% gains on the day after a deal with OpenAI. Okay. Who was at the White House? Who was at the White House rubbing shoulders? Was it Sam? Right? Was it these massive media and mindshare conglomerates behind OpenAI? It was indeed. Okay. I've already gone into my thoughts on where OpenAI originates from, the controlled narratives that could be found within it, and where it's going to lead people to slaughter over the next 10 to 20 years on the blockchain basement. But let's talk about money. AMD rising 35%, deal with OpenAI solidified. AMD is on track for the biggest single day in market cap gain history. Okay. That's absolutely insane. Trump coming out saying that there's virtually no inflation, also insane. And stocks market in the stock markets continually hitting record highs. The idea that inflation simply doesn't exist and that there is virtually no inflation is provably and statistically so far from the truth it nearly makes me want to punch my screen, because I am an average dad dealing with the costs of feeding 4 growing children, taking care of my wife the way that she should be taken care of. And I absolutely do feel the effects of inflation. I've seen it going nearly hyperbolic from my standpoint as a middle class person that is fighting for my family's future. I feel disgusted hearing the words that there is virtually no inflation being said by the leader of the free world here. Now there's a 96.2% chance of federal interest rate cuts coming up this month in October. What does that mean? Well, rate cuts into stagflation. This is probably one of the more drastic and dire situations our American economy has faced in the past that we are now walking down the road in our future over the next few years of experiencing. The latest ISM service report showed that prices paid rising towards 70 and employment remaining below 50. As a result, we are now seeing the biggest gap between prices paid and employment since the 2020 pandemic. Asset owners know this. Now, what's happening to those hard-sided assets? What's happening as a result of this psyop on a macroeconomic level where they say that there's no inflation, they're cutting interest rates, yet people are working gig economies to basically survive in this economy? What's happening to the mainstay hard-sided asset, gold? Let's take a gander. So gold is going ballistic. Gold, in the realization that there is no hope for the monetary theory to come back to a reasonable standpoint, gold has hit essentially $4,000 this morning. Absolutely insane movement. And the reason why I have this zone highlighted and circled here is this was the preceding, oh my God, this can't be real, we're going into stagflationary pump that we experienced in 1978, okay? The chart right now on gold looks picture perfect. We're going to go to a larger time frame to really soak this in the right way. So gold has essentially set up the same initial move, building a cup and handle, slight handle, breakout. This is what happened in the 1970s to 80s situation I'm talking about. What we just went through, cup and handle, breakout, right? Now, how much of this move has been accomplished so far is really the question at hand. Are we already cooked? Have we cooked up to the moon already? And now we're just chasing green candles. Let's take a gander. So gold had a momentary pause before it continued on with its up only just menacing rally. This rally can only be described as menacing. What gold did leading into stagflation the last time it hit America. Okay, so gold from this middle finger moment here, from that zone, it rallied by about 120% from this little breakout point, this stumbling pattern. Now, this chart is at a much higher market cap now. Now we're at a $22+ trillion market cap, so I'm not expecting a 120% move from this same zone, but these zones of shake were created at the exact same times as in terms of macroeconomic uncertainty and leading into stagflation that this one was. Okay, there's a lot of data pointing to these similar scenarios, and where gold, in my humble opinion, is likely to go to from here is either in between a 30 to 50% pump from this flag. 30% pump, kind of a diminished expectation for me, is $4,300 per ounce of gold. Now, a 50% move from this zone, blow off top, hyperinflationary, collapse up, debt bubble moving to infinity, brings gold to $5,000 an ounce. This is absolutely on the table for me because we are cutting into our interest rates as inflation's returning. We're cutting into stagflation. The average buyer's running out of capital. Business owners know this is the reality. Macroeconomic majors don't want you to know that this is the reality. And the joke behind this all is that paying down the national debt would actually cause the crisis many people think it would prevent. There is no escaping the black hole of debt and the this debt-based monetary system. That is the brutal, ugly reality of this situation at hand. So leaning into and investing into disruptive technologies is an action that I have taken upon for myself and my family to act aggressively in this time frame. Same punch from March 2024. Whose kids are calling their dad Drip? Jeez Louise, who is doing that? They need banned. I have 10 kids and we all eat potatoes in this economy. Oh, I know that feel. I mean, you might be being hyperbolic. I got 4 kids. They eat organic, but boy, howdy, do I feel it. Boy, howdy, do I feel those organic shopping lists, right? I definitely feel them. Now the U.S. Treasury, in light of all this economic turmoil, is going to mint $1 coins with President Trump's face on them. Yes, I'm going to get some for commemorative reasons. Yes, I already have some Trump coins. We can't even afford to buy the potatoes. We have to grow them. Jeez, man, it's getting brutal out there. Well, maybe we can buy our potato sacks with Trump's commemorative $1 coin that he's coming out with. Now, we've seen some pumps. The market is pumping. It's feeling good. Do we think we're done? No, I don't think we're done. Many people out there thought that we were done last week. They're dead wrong this week, right? Kind of weird, huh? I chose to be bullish, proved to be right. But let's look at who's gaining the most. So layer 1 sector looks like is leading the altcoin gains in the first week of Q4. Category including Solana, Avalanche, BNB, Sui, Aptos, all put up 12.5 or even more percent gains from their September 29th close to October 5th, where we're landing here. Now it's the 6th, obviously, so we got to look at the landscape. But BNB is going into extreme all-time high territory at $1,200 plus. Solana's a laggard. I'm feeling Solana's kind of like Avalanche, kind of like those big layer ones waiting for their moments. Chainlink in there. They've surged by double digits over the past week. Momentum reflected in market sentiment as well. But honestly, guys, like we are not to alt season yet. We are literally just itching at the door. The altcoin index is at a 65 out of 100. We are not there yet, right? We are not to alt season right now. So articles like this, yay, it's fun that you're saying Solana and AVAX and all these, alts. Doesn't mean anything in reality because this is not alt season. This is not the 20, 30, 50% pumps like we see on the daily in alt season. Yeah, these are rookie numbers. So, yeah, articles like this might get people a little bit dismayed, hammering into the alts and expecting them to pump in tandem with Bitcoin right now. It's about buying these assets before the pump comes to them, right? That's at least for me. That's what I do. So I'm not really worried about the alts not pumping yet. I'm actually using it as a buying opportunity. MetaMask, the token generation event, TGE, postponed again instead of launching a token. As MetaMask has recently teased, they announced new points program. Farmers being farmed is the new meta. Ouch. Ouch. I'm watching for the MetaMask token reveal, token listing. No, I'm not going to hammer into it right away, but I am going to be looking at it, see its performance, because MetaMask is one of the older hot wallets that a lot of people in crypto have integrated. So it'll be interesting to see how the actual token performs in the heat of all this chaos. It looked like Robinhood also went down for many users. This is actually part of the end of the show kind of conversation, because I want to have a talk with you guys about what happens when the music stops for alts. What happens when the music stops for Bitcoin? What happens when the music stops for gold? Because what goes up must inevitably come down. And just a fair warning on the macroeconomic data lining up is that, yeah, this is an insane pump to look forward to, honestly, still for gold. But what happened after the parabolic blow off top, the 800% gain on gold during the last stagflationary crisis, gold pumps very, very hard. Other assets start to find their jive. But then gold took the backseat for basically, 1982 to I mean, that's like 20 years. That's like 20 years of doldrums, right? The last time an economic blow off top like what we're seeing right now happened. So I'm here warning about it. I look at the chart and this is what I see. I see a blow off top, absolute euphoria coming to gold, and then potentially 20 years of heinous sideways price action. Let's go look at the Bitcoin chart here. Looks like we're getting close. We are breaking official all-time highs right now. Ooh, baby. Official all-time highs just hit on Bitcoin. Holy cow. Good morning, Alexander G. Good to see you. Holy cow. We are about to hit $126,000. The question that remains on this big doldrum moment that happened to gold afterwards is, does Bitcoin follow the same trend? Bitcoin's at a much smaller market cap. It's much more technologically disruptive. So there's a lot of potential there for Bitcoin to be moved into a, strategic reserve alongside gold, and then find a lot more oomph, a lot more bounce to the ounce than gold over the course of the next, say, 10 years, right? Because gold could go to $25-30 trillion and then cool off right in that $20 to $30 trillion time market cap range. Bitcoin's only at $2.4 trillion. If we see Bitcoin rise to $4 or $5 trillion over the course of this next, kind of pump in the markets, get up to $150,000-200,000 a coin, there's nothing to stop Bitcoin from trying to wash out by 50% and then punch up to $10 trillion in 2030, right? And keep chunking up and gradually gaining that market share of gold while gold sits there and hovers around $25-30 trillion. That's absolutely something that's a potential. And what we're seeing right now is nations are on the brink of World War III. What we're seeing right now is fiat is losing by levels that we haven't seen in centuries time frame across the world. Yes, we have our little shakes in Bitcoin or in US dollars right now, but there is a long-standing problem going on with fiat currency, buying power being diminished to nothing, and people are noticing. So I think it's about the an increase in communication. I think it's about people like you and me that focus on these things day to day. We discuss these with our loved ones. It's becoming more commonplace knowledge, right? That the lack of value in our dollar is very, very clear. Hold on. I got to get someone. Let's hear. Haircut time, big dog. Oh, really?
You are banned!
Hold on. Okay. I just got a haircut. Okay. What's it look? I'm keeping the mullet, but I got a little trimmed up, Party in the back, bunched up front, business in the front, party in the back. So just had to get you there, Freddie. I think you're even new to this channel, so welcome. Welcome, Freddie. Now let's talk about something pretty exciting. Binance and Chainlink. So BNB Chain, one of the world's largest blockchain ecosystems, backed by an active global community of developers and users, has adopted the Chainlink data standard to make the official U.S. Department of Commerce data available on-chain. Absolutely insane. So it's adopted the Chainlink data standard. And let's read into Chainlink's actual announcement of this. Sourced from the Bureau of Economic Analysis, Chainlink price feeds deliver the key government macroeconomic data points such as GDP, PCE price index, real final sales, and private domestic purchasers directly to the BNB chain. Now, in this idea that blockchain can come in and make this economic data more true, I think we have to go to the source to actually get that accomplished. What Chainlink can do is pass on information that the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the government entities, are willing to release. Government entities, the literal world as we know it, changed the definition of a recession 2 years ago, and no one seemed to bat an eye. They've also taken away metrics in terms of inflation on any commodity good that goes absolutely parabolic. They evaluate living costs in terms of your home at near Section 8 costs. So those metrics need to be changed at a fundamental level before Chainlink could come in here and save the day when BNB on this data. If they did come and fix this problem within the next year, we might be able to avoid the doldrums of this 20-year doldrums going to near 0% interest rates, and a really ridiculous monetary system that's set up right now. Honestly, I think that they should just continue to scam it until the system implodes into Bitcoin. Let's light this candle. I'm tired of playing, patty cake around the fire with these banks. Yeah, new all-time highs. Yeah, there's a few minutes ago we got it. It's we're sitting right now. God, we're trying to do it again. So it hit 125,886. I think seeing these new all-time highs is worth looking at CoinGlass as well for liquidation levels. Let's go here and let's pull up CoinGlass. Bam. We're gonna go full screen like this. Boom. All right. Go to the heat map. Let's see if a bunch of shorts are piling in, disbelief going to extremes, and bears causing the price of Bitcoin to go higher and higher. And there it is, folks. The bears are in disbelief. They cannot believe Bitcoin going to new highs. Look at this. Absolutely beautiful. So 126,781 and 126,200 are targets for Binance to pump the price up. And this is exciting to see. I am excited. And if you can't tell, there is a hint of heavy metal coming out of my voice right now because I am inquiring with heavy metal bands here in the local area to start up a heavy metal band. Once again, I'm pretty excited about it. Let's go check out the altcoins. I'm sure that there is some really, really juicy price action happening from these new all-time highs. Ethereum over $4,700. Holy cow. This is so fun. So who are the biggest gainers right now? Let's look at that first. So Mantle is up by 17%. Pancake Swap, part of the BNB ecosystem, up 16%. Aster, BNB Darling here up 13.3%. Eigenlayer, very similar to Mantle. So we're seeing two big behemoths in DeFi, Mantle and Eigenlayer leading this up. MYX caught in with the Aster decentralized perpetuals narrative, pumping by 9%. And then the odd man out here, AI with Potential Tau, putting up some numbers here. You'll love to see it, but honestly, this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. The disbelief is just setting in with people. They can't stand that dudes with mullets and, sweatshirts like this can outthink macroeconomic PhDs, but we did it. We're riding into Valhalla zone, and you're here watching it with me. Shout out to you, you cool human, you. Now, Ethereum is at $4,700. XRP still stuck to this $3, but they're going to probably choose some violence to the upside pretty quickly with all this hubbub. Solana's got a sell wall that we got to pay attention to. There's a sell wall on Solana that has got to get over. The guys in the suits are lost. Isn't it such a beautiful thing? Thoughts on Ethereum Classic? Gonna pump like crazy and then dump like crazy. Ethereum Classic is like Coke Classic, right? So normies, newbies, they're gonna see ETH Classic and they're gonna freaking buy it. It's gonna pump. It's gonna pump the same way. Look at this. Bloop, all-time high. Bloop, new all-time high. It's probably gonna do $200. This thing's probably gonna 10x and then dump back down to, 30, $20. Who knows? Ethereum Classic is here for a good time and a long time, but usually a bad time. So, just think about that when you're looking at that. Let's get back to this BNB Chainlink setup here. I think that Chainlink, in order to fix the government data program, it's awesome and it's going to pump Chainlink really well, being so ingrained and part of the systemic change to Web3. Chainlink is one of those key pieces of infrastructure. So I think Chainlink's got a very, very bright future. But in order to actually change how bad our economic situation is, we need to stop letting the government lie to us on the baseline of where that data comes from. I think that that's a pretty fair assessment there. Now, Link, in terms of total value secured, has hit all-time highs. Price tends to catch up shortly with on-chain metrics. Repricing to fair valuation territory could happen in the next few days. A repricing to where we accurately should be is right around $100 per Chainlink token. think it takes some time, realization that things are going to all-time highs. And huge shout out to everyone that caught my weekend video on Chainlink revenue. Chainlink just flipped the switch. Yeah, they actually have a switch to flip, and it was revenue, right? They've gotten a large contingent of crypto addicted to their data services, and now the fees have been turned on. They went from $5,000 a week in fees to $1 million on average in fees per week, a 300x increase per week on revenue for Chainlink. We're just in the calm before the storm. We're in the calm before the storm. It is what it is. We're ahead of it, and I like it. Now, this is something very important to look at in Chainlink as well. If you're a Chainlink Marine and you don't pay attention to Tom Zizak on LinkedIn, you're doing it wrong. He's the Chief Innovation Officer at Swift, the payments processor that literally controls monetary movement across the world currently. If we think of finance like aviation, the fastest planes in the world still need air traffic control. Very, very base point. For example, Ethereum Foundation runs some of the busiest flights today. Chainlink Labs brings in verified weather data, but without a neutral tower coordinating everyone, are we one misstep from chaos, right? And that's why we're building out this massive, massive infrastructure of data to be seamlessly moved from country to country in terms of payments, GDP, inflation data. We're trying to move all of these different things onto the next version of the internet for a myriad of different reasons, because you have basic security concerns with China and the United States. You have a intrinsic mistrust between nation states, and this is why software like blockchain makes a lot of sense, so that it can be verified and trusted by multiple different users, a different demographic and different intentions, right? They talk about this world economy being built out. You really need a base layer of communication that's transparent to be able to have a world economy like that happen. In the current infrastructure, Web 2, it ain't it, babe. It ain't it. So if you are a Chainlink Marine, do implore you to follow Tom on LinkedIn. That's some interesting notes on Ethereum ETPs getting ready to put the green light on staking. So Grayscale received approval to enable that staking for its Ethereum staked ETPs. I highlighted this last week. It was likely to come in. Staked Ethereum ETPs, ETFs are the nitrous oxide. I think that Wall Street will take advantage of. I think earning yield on the second biggest crypto project on the planet is something that I could see within reason Wall Street doing. So I'm watching out for it. And I think that's just going to be part of the massive storm of bullish news that we're going to run into over the course of the end of this year. Being positioned ahead of time, buying the dips in this time frame is fine for me. I'm going to be done buying once we get near December. You know, my window for buying crypto is very, very short. So I'm watching that very closely. DeFi mullet effect from Morpho Labs. Active loans on Base are now at $1 billion or more, supported by Coinbase DeFi. And this is all just Coinbase specific and being moved through Morpho. It's just very odd that Coinbase would kind of corner their user base into using Morpho instead of the other products out there. Morpho is not specific to Chainlink, though. I mean, it's used on even cold wallets, right? So that is something I found very, very interesting about Morpho. It seems to be getting much more than I anticipated in terms of its, placement, adoption potential. And it makes me very bullish on that, target of $5 to $10 billion market cap for Morpho. Now, $2.45, it looks like, is a pretty strong supply wall, according to Ollie charts. He does some really, really good work. And 245, something about it just really stuck out to me in terms of Solana price action to watch out for some turbulence on. Let's actually go to the Solana chart and check it out as a fan. So 245, we're going to have to back up a little bit because I think it's been some time since we visited that level. A little bit of time. This is the Trump coin chaos, right? This is when Trump came out with his meme coin on Solana, and really, this is the biggest throughput test in crypto history, adding 890 million wallets over the course of 48 hours. One of the fastest adoption tests crypto has ever received right here on this candle. Now, Solana, it actually 245 makes a hell of a lot of sense in terms of old school volume, old school top blasters right here looking to take their cheese for a flat line, and even profit takers being careful about a failed breakout point for Solana. So 245 seems pretty reasonable on the weekly time frames. Money flow looks very strong. VWAP has clipped back to the upside. You're looking juicy on Solana. Just watch out for that 245 turbulent zone if you are in and out of trading, things of that nature, or if that was a potential taking profit moment for you, right? I can't eat or feed my kids with altcoins, I know, but I can with altcoin profits. So that is an important metric to pay attention, that 245 zone. Now, Aster, there's a lot of controversy behind Aster. Spot was listed on Binance. Many whales transferred Aster from Gate to Binance. This account here, or this address rather, withdrew 9.6 million tokens worth nearly $20 million from Gate to Binance. And this is yesterday. Over the past hour, another address deposited 8 million. So there's a lot of deposits coming into Binance from Gate, these tokens. Aster is an ego play from CZ, and I doubt that he is going to come out of it looking like a loser. I think CZ was able to diamond hand projects chaotically through the last bull market. And really, I'm not trying to fade Aster, but there will be a time where the cows come to roost on Aster. If Binance doesn't really make a push to get a lot of users off of their centralized exchange trading side over to the perps on the decentralized side, then it could just be a fly by the night seasonal type thing. This is an interesting note from Mert. You guys highlighted Mert. I had followed some of his posts, but I decided to give him a follow. He's been trying to help Zcash get listed on more exchanges. He's running into problems, obviously. It's pretty telling how many jurisdictions like the EU and UK won't allow privacy coins. They're scared of their citizens having freedom. The fight of the century is just beginning so much higher. All right. Now, kind of a cultural argument for crypto, but I do think it matters. The gold chart, the pressures on macroeconomic markets, the financial reset that I just showed you is likely to happen at the beginning of the show, leaves a lot of room for the next system to build out an overscope blanket of surveillance and control of you. Yes, you here in America, in Europe, in Australia, in Snow Mexico, aka Canada. This involves all of us in developed nations, not just the underdeveloped nations that are moving much faster with CBDCs. The idea that our country is on the precipice of a financial reset and what this moves into, we need to be extremely loud about making sure that we do not have surveillance on those CBDCs, or we don't have essential ability for them to shut down our ability to pay, right? These are things that it's hard to guarantee outside of Bitcoin that transaction can make it. Zcash is one of the privacy coins are very, very structurally important for the longevity of crypto. Privacy coins matter. Make privacy coins great again. That's what I would say about that subject matter. You're going to need them. Now, 10 coins, I could still 10x from here by the end of the year. Rendoshi, great account. Looking at Ondo, this is a little bit much. Ondo, I could see like $2 or $3 by end of year. Maybe I'm being too bearish on it. Syrup, 40 cents to $4. This is a much smaller market cap. This is a much more movable goalpost on that. Camino, a sleeper, very, very sleepy staking infrastructure play for Solana. And he's saying it could go from 7.5 cents to 75 cents. Cloud, looking at 12 cents to 1.2. I don't know anything about Cloud. Let me know in the chat what you think about that. Render, $3.40 to $34. Not going to happen. I don't think this one's going to happen. I'm sorry. I just don't think it's going to happen. Fartcoin, again, it's probably got the juice to make it up to like $1. It's got the. Did I just do that? Hold on. You are banned. I can't believe, and I didn't even mean to set it up that way. I didn't even mean to set it up. Altcoin, I think, is going to run into a lot of sell pressure at $1. And if it gets over there, I mean, there's going to be a lot of sell pressure. I don't foresee a $6 plus Altcoin. That's just me. Kita, talking about 50 cents to $5.60. I banned myself, Crypto Steve. I had to do it. Kita, I think this is a small enough market cap where it finds its stride. Yeah, these are all extremely high risk, higher reward scenario projects. AVAX, this $300 target for AVAX, I got to push back on a little bit. Okay, like $300 for AVAX would be Bitcoin dominance falling back to generalized. This is why I call this generalized expected lows, because it's a very basic trend line. And this is the altcoin hyperbole season down here. If we see Bitcoin dominance breach 50% and go down to the 40s, that's where you're talking $200 Chainlink, $300 or $400 AVAX. That's a little bit nuts for me. I really am more so targeting the 50% Bitcoin dominance level, and around like the $80, $100 Chainlink, $100 to $200 AVAX, that type of move. In this move down to 50%. But by all means, my moon bags of Chainlink are going to go absolutely berserk if we do break this on Bitcoin dominance at 50% and go down to that. I just am kind of doubtful it's going to happen in Bitcoin reserve conversations, Bitcoin treasuries, everything that Wall Street and government levels are doing right now. I see Bitcoin dominance holding on harder than it's ever done before. Now, Black token, 30 cents to $3 plus. Black token, I don't have any allocation to. It's hard to tell if it's going to just fall off the face of the earth because the yield is so insanely high, or if there will be infrastructural / AVAX level intentions to make sure it's bolstered for the ecosystem that's all tethered to Black, right? And then Curve, I think this is a little bit much for Curve. So let me know if I'm being too bearish. Let me know. But I think that there's some nuance to these lists. You can't just blanket statement all these different projects as being able to go absolutely up into the moon, right? And this is kind of a dangerous background potential here for Pudgy Penguins. Pudgy Penguins has 576 active loans on Blur, and that's 2.68 times the leverage that Bored Ape Yacht Club had with 40% lower listing price. So a listing price lower for Bored Ape Yacht Club, but now being outshined by a way higher floor of listing price for Pudgy Penguins, with nearly 3x the leverage being used by those Pudgy holders. 22% below the current 90 ETH floor. When that breaks, 115 Pudgies dump all at once into a market that trades 50 per day. That's a problem, right? That's a huge discount for Pudgy Penguins, and watch Pengu if this does go down as well. Moonbirds dropped 48% in 6 hours from 83 liquidations. Pudgy has nearly 7 times that leverage. Just animal spirits are leveraged up to the gills. So just be careful out there. Okay, just be careful. I still like Pudgy as a long-term thing. Luca Nets knows how to make revenue. That's great. That's something very rare that you see out of these NFT peeps. Now let's talk about how to get the hell out of this altcoin season when it pumps. So Alex Becker's talking about literally everyone is planning for a nice, clean Q4 December-ish exit. Not going to happen in his opinion. Instead, probably going to head into a blow-off top 2 times higher early mid-quarter 1 and leave all the sellers in max pain. That is indeed what the gold, what the Bitcoin chart, what the Bitcoin dominance chart, what Federal Reserve interest rate cut charts are showing me right now. A lot of things are lining up for the Q1 of 2026 to be a blow-off top. So with that being said, I got some good, interesting words from Crypto Stevo. Crypto Stevo, good to see you in the chat. Crypto friends, he finished unbonding all of his staked and delegated coins like AVAX. Took 2 effing weeks, even more so for some other tokens such as Graph. For now, leaving Bitcoin in cold storage, 99% of everything else has been moved to exchanges or a few hot wallets. He suggests we do the same because when you see that parabolic move come, you want to be ready to sell. I'm ready to get rich, bitches. Okay. So, first of all, very nice write up. Okay. Very nice write up. Now, I think what Crypto Stevo is doing right now is very, very intelligent because blow off tops happen in what feels like a blink of an eye. Blow off top happens in basically a blink of an eye. So, a good example for this, and I know you're going to love this example, my dear friend Crypto Stevo, is Cardano. Get him. So, Cardano, sleepy until it's not, right? And, we're in the general zone right now. We're approaching kind of blow off top moments. Cardano's likely in a situation like this, right? But its all-time high came over the course of like 5 weeks, right? So 5 weeks, it pumps by 192%. Going down the list, we're going to look at more of these coins to really, hey, and shout out to you, Crypto Cody, dropping the membership here. Looks like Brian Wild picked that one up. Absolutely beautiful. Let's look at this Dogecoin as well, right? Dogecoin, very solidified. Meme coin, very known. Oh, this is a great looking chart too. Jesus. So on the weekly time frame, and even in this market that we're currently in, Doge only took 2 weeks to pump by right around 200%. Okay. It moved from 15 cents all the way up to 43 cents. That's not a bad move. Now, in market past, leading up to that parabolic moment, and this is kind of metaphysically, guys, I feel like we're in the zone. Doge ran by 1,200%. So this is a 1 week, basically, what is this? 4 week, 1 month time frame. 1 month you have. So getting things in order, getting your house in order, getting things unstaked and able to sell, not a bad move. Not a bad move. Okay. Do I feel like we're putting up those Chainlink to Bitcoin or Solana to Bitcoin or XRP to Bitcoin signals right now to JEET? No. But over the course of the next few months here, as we see consistent Federal Reserve interest rate cuts, gold blowing people's hair back, the average person can't afford a pot to piss in, yet the all-time highs in the stock market are going to continue over and over again. The gig economy is going to continue to expand. The government's going to continue lying to us, and these assets are going to go to the moon. So just be prepared. Have these things, have your house in order for when that time comes. I do feel like we're coming on it. It is, in my pure view, to be watching out for blow-off tops for Bitcoin. Do I think we're there right now? No. No, I don't. I think Bitcoin's got the juice to run to $150,000 to $200,000. And I really feel like that time frame is going to be Q1 of 2026. But having these things in order, very, very important. When Piano Matty B, you know what? You're reading my mind because I actually had a plan for him this week. How to use link to BTC chart. Enjoy. I thought you would never ask. Let's go take a look at that. That's a great question. That is a great. Because Link is it is the only altcoin that I'm leaving a moon bag behind of this cycle, right? The moon bags are Bitcoin and Link, but Link to BTC is the chart that I'm using to decide when to JEET the vast majority of my Chainlink. The average buys on these things about $4, $3.90. I've been holding it for a very long time. So Chainlink, I think, has all of the juice in the tank to find support basically at this range and then pump up. Sure, there could be chop along the way, but we could see a diminished expectation of rally for Chainlink to Bitcoin at 100%. This is just all based off downward, basically Bitcoin smashing everything to zero against Bitcoin, but Chainlink setting up for a nice alt season run. I'm going to be using this only on the weekly time frames. And my general signal to know when to take those profits is when I'm seeing 10, 20% weekly candles being put up. You start to really escape that momentum. And then you crash back down because Bitcoin is the king of everything, right? So that's the general vibe. Link to BTC. You can look at this a bunch of different ways. How I use this is really just understanding that Bitcoin is literally making even real estate go to zero against it. So understanding that there is a general vibe of all assets on planet Earth going to zero against Bitcoin. Understand that. Take the profits. Make the profits slowly or quickly, but protect them quickly no matter what. Protect them quickly no matter what. That's what I'm thinking. No, I'm not round tripping. I'm not round tripping the Chainlink. I'll be selling probably around like 80-90% of my Chainlink bag. Thank you very much for this happy 2-year anniversary for the blockchain basement. Man, oh, it's been a hell of a 2 years. It's been a hell of a 2 years. Holy God. Nice. We got a Tau trade printed for Mongoose Lab. And if you guys are interested in our trading group, didn't do the morning show this morning just because I had an insane migraine and a spinal cord pinch. But click the link in our description. You'll find the Discover Investments Group Discord. Sign up with LBank. You'll get into the trading group for absolutely free. And you can join us, me, Kelly, Deezy, and then Josh, even when he's kind of like an on-the-field correspondent, globe trotting around the world. He's still got an office in here, but he's in there occasionally too. So I love and appreciate you guys out there. I'm here for you and to talk about my crypto journey, my massive, massive task ahead of me as a father of 4 and a husband to lead my family towards financial freedom. We did it in COVID, in the massive crash of the flu season. And I'm here to just talk about my experience, what I'm doing in a public format. And I love your guys' opinions, your projects that you're looking for. I appreciate anyone that's out there trying to better their lives through digital assets and understand this crazy world that we're living in. And with that being said, here's a message from
We just wanted to take a quick second to shout out our sponsor, Arculus. They are a cold storage hardware wallet, helps you secure all of your digital assets for the future. Just tap this thing to the back of your phone and boom, you're in. We wouldn't be able to do this without them, but also wouldn't be able to do this without you guys, the Disco fam. You've supported us a lot over the years. If you want to support the channel now, just use the code DC20. It gets you 20% off this card. It's the #1 way you can support this channel going forward. Thank you for your support. We'll see you at the top.